What's going on today, guys? AU here, and today we're talking about GMAX Lapras. Now, if you've been playing doubles online, VGC at all, and Pokemon Sword and Shield, it is the best year to get into competitive Pokemon, whether it be singles, doubles, multi-battle with your friends, anything. So, as you know, VGC rule set is allowing some Gigantamax Pokemon as they're released. So the game started out with things like Butterfree, Corviknight, Cinescorch, Dreadnought, I don't even remember what else there was, Sandaconda. All those mons were like super rare. I mean, not super rare, they were super common in the Pokemon dens in the wild area. Well, then they released Snorlax, so then around the time they released Snorlax was when VGC rule set came out. And the rule set says that as they release the more common Gigantamax Pokemon, they'll become legal in VGC. So right now there's Pikachu, Eevee, Meowth, Sandaconda, Butterfree, Cinescorch, Dreadnought, Corviknight, Snorlax, and there's a fifth one. I mean a 10th one, but I can't remember it. But you get what I'm saying. There's one more I can't remember. But here in the latest Direct, if you saw the Direct yesterday or the day before, I don't really know which day this video is going to go out. If you saw the Direct, you will have seen that Gigantamax Lapras, Colossal, Appleton, and Flapple were released, and Alchemy. They didn't actually say Alchemy in the Direct, they kind of left it out, but Alchemy is more common now. So the VGC rule set is about to change. I don't know if they're going to change VGC for things like Dallas and a bunch of regionals that are coming up, locals, but it's going to change whether it's this month or next month. Probably for the online ladder it's not going to change until next season, but I'm hoping that the VGC rule set changes soon because I want Showdown to change because I'm really excited to use Gigantamax Lapras. Lapras is an OP mon. So if you've probably faced the Parasong teams of Lapras, Sandaconda, Snorlax, Gothitelle, things like that. Lapras on that team is so annoying to kill. I even have like a Parasong Life Dew on this one. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to keep Life Dew. I might just go Protect. But I really want a way to heal Lapras back up. But in case you didn't know, Lapras's GMAX move is GMAX Resonance, and what it does is it basically sets up Auroraville. So if you've probably seen Vanillix running around here recently. I know last week Vanillix saw a lot of results in tournament, and it's because Auroraville just halves Pokemon damage, right? So you have Grimmsnarl as a screen setter, and it has Prankster screens, which makes it super good. But you have to kind of pick and choose what screen you want to set. If they lead with a counter to Grimmsnarl, because people know what Grimmsnarl is there for, if they lead with a counter to Grimmsnarl, you pretty much only ever get like one screen up. So you have to choose between Light Screen for special attacks, Reflect for physical attacks. Auroraville is not the same. The only thing with Auroraville is that you have to set it in the Hail. So Vanillix has Snow Warning, so it sets its own Hail, and then it also learns Auroraville, so then it sets Auroraville. Back in Gen 7, Alola Ninetales played that role on teams. I know in singles I used Alola Ninetales a lot. But with Gigantamax Lapras, you can set Auroraville with, like, regardless of the weather. It can be no weather, it can be sand, it can be rain, it can be sun, like it doesn't matter. It can set Auroraville. And it's an ice type move, so it hits mons like Whimsicott. You can set it super early game against Whimsicott. You can set it super early game against Togekiss. Super early game against Dragapult if they lead Dragapult. So there's a lot of times you can set it for super effective damage, but most of the time you're gonna set it just to set it and get some damage off onto a mon. Setting it against Grimmsnarl, me personally, I like to KO Grimmsnarl first. I don't like my opponent to get screens up, kind of the same with Whimsicott. So with Whimsicott, I could counter Whimsicott with You'll see in a second my Sableye Lapras lead. I could counter Whimsicott. I don't think that Lapras kills Grimmsnarl. I didn't actually do a calc on Grimmsnarl. So if it doesn't, my lead would then be Sableye Excadrill or Sableye Togekiss. But, so we'll talk a little bit about Lapras. As you can see, it's holding Light Clay. Light Clay does extend GMAX Resonance, the duration of it. It will extend it to 7 or 8 turns, I think. Usually it's only 5, but this will, Reflect will last 8 turns instead of 5. So GMAX Resonance is usually 5. Light Clay sets it to 8, which for a VGC match is pretty much the whole match. So you're going to be taking half damage from other mons pretty much the whole match. I also gave it Water Absorb. I haven't seen a lot of Dracovish. I don't know. I know for Perish Trap teams, Water Absorb is kind of good because it can counter the counters to things like Sandaconda, and but like Dracovish doesn't really run around that often anymore, and when it does, usually Togekiss can take care of it, or Sableye can burn it. I've been thinking about Shell Armor, and I actually had a cool idea with Hydration Rest, because Lapras can set the rain. Since Resonance is the Ice type move, Lapras can still set rain, and Hydration would cure Rest at the end of every turn. However, I don't think that's as reliable. Like if I ran Rest, I would also have to run Sleep Talk because I don't think that Hydration is as reliable as I would want it to be. So for now, I'm running Water Absorb and Light Clay, and then I ran Brine, Freeze Dry, Life Dew, and Perish Song. My thoughts with Brine was if I Gigantamax Lapras, it's probably going to be early game, which means I'm going to be doing some chip damage. And if a Pokemon is at 50% or less HP, then Brine doubles, so it goes into a base 130 move, which is super strong. Freeze Dry can hit things like Gyarados, which can run around, especially in rain. Gyarados in rain is scary. It can hit Dragon types, Togekiss, all those things. It has a chance to freeze, which is good. I'm running Life Dew for now. I don't know if I want to run Life Dew or something like, I don't know if I want to run Protect, but I'm running Life Dew for now because at 25%, healing for 25%, you and your ally can be pretty big, especially with bulky mons like Togekiss and Rillaboom and Arcanine. Healing those for 25% can be big in the game. And even Lapras, with Lapras being as bulky as it is. Perish Song, my idea is kind of a late game Lapras play. So like if you've already KO'd 2 of their Pokemon and you still have 3 or 4 left, Perish Song is always a good play in my opinion at that point in the game, because then you know your opponent has a time crunch. So your opponent has to win in 3 turns. They have to beat your 3 or 4 Pokemon left in 3 turns. Running Protect, like I run Protect on Arcanine, Excadrill, and that's actually it on this team. But Arcanine and Excadrill have Protect. See, putting Protect on over Life Dew on Lapras for that reason isn't a horrible idea. Also running Protect over like Follow Me, because I don't see myself using Follow Me a lot with this team. Actually, I think I like that idea. I think I like... Yeah, I definitely don't see myself using Follow Me with this team, because what hits other things for super effective damage that resist... I mean, you have like fighting moves against Excadrill that Togekiss resists, but I think, like, I don't want to Follow Me a electric type move, or I could Follow Me a ground type move for these 2, but people probably would expect Follow Me, so I think I'm actually going to run Protect on this Togekiss. So that gives me 3 more mons that have Protect, and that can, like, late game, having those Protect on those mons and you use Perish Song, it can mess your opponent up because they're rushing to get the kills, but you're reading them just protecting. So it's kind of a guaranteed win at that point. And then the EV spread, I ran some calcs. It's been about 3 or 4 days since I ran the calcs for Lapras, because this is an old Lapras, like an old Lapras EV spread that I had. I think I count like a Banded Arcanine Wild Charge. Maybe I even count it for Max Lightning. I think I count Duraludon Max Lightning. I think I might have count like a Conkeldurr Drain Punch. But this Lapras is pretty bulky, so it's even got I put 252 special attack because it's gonna be Gigantamax most of the time, so you want that special attack. And I think 81 outspeeds min speed Tyranitar. Oh, it speed ties. Okay, that's why I put that there. So it speed ties Tyranitar, and I think speed tying min speed Tyranitars. Well, not min speed. Just like 0 speed IVs. I think that's a pretty good place to start because Dynamax Tyranitar can be detrimental to Lapras. I think Tyranitar is a good wall for Lapras. Lapras can deal super effective damage, but me personally, I'm scared of hitting Tyranitar for super effective damage because of weakness policy. So speed tying there is good in my opinion, and I think this EV spread for Lapras is just super solid. So as I was thinking about Lapras, I was thinking what can take advantage of the Aurora Veil, and my first thought was actually a weakness policy Duraludon. Those have been running around a lot, but I was having a hard time with people hitting Duraludon for super effective damage, so I kind of backed up on that idea for now because I think a lot of people are expecting Duraludon to be weakness policy now. So I did go for weakness policy Togekiss. I think a bulky weakness policy Togekiss can deal a lot of damage. Behind Aurora Veil, Iron Head from Excadrill is doing, I think, like 40% of this Togekiss. Like, it's a 2-hit KO, maybe a 3-hit KO. Because this Togekiss lives a regular Iron Head from Excadrill at like 10%. So behind Aurora Veil, that same Iron Head should do 40%, which means it would be a 3-hit KO from Excadrill, which just makes Togekiss so bulky. It's just so bulky. So they would have to hit it for super effective damage if they wanted any chance at killing this Togekiss. So when I was thinking about Togekiss and Lapras, the one big weakness there would be Rock and Electric. So that's when I came up with Excadrill fitting into this team. Excadrill is running Focus Sash. Mold Breaker is super good on this Excadrill. It deals with Mimikyu, Rotoms, which are super annoying, and it can hit Bronzong. If you Max Quake a Bronzong, it OHKOs, and a lot of people won't expect that play. So if you ever run into a Trick Room Bronzong, then OHKOing it with Max Quake is always my play. Runs high horsepower, Iron Head, Rock Slide, Protect. Just went max speed, max attack. Hits 154 speed. I think Jolly Exca is the way to go because most people are running Jolly, and I want to speed tie with those Excadrills. So then I was thinking about Excadrill, and it's weak to Ground, which Lapras and Togekiss kind of synergize well with. It's weak to Fighting, which Togekiss synergizes well with, and also Sableye. I have used Sableye on I got the 17th on the ladder with Sableye, Excadrill, Togekiss, Dragapult, Weezing, and Obstagoon. That was my top 20 team, and Sableye is just an amazing support Pokemon, and a lot of my leads were Sableye, Excadrill, so I think putting Sableye on this team was good too, because it can come in on those fighting moves and it can provide support to the other Pokemon that's out. It runs Fake Out Pressure. Prankster Will-O-Wisp is so good. Prankster Quash is so good, and it runs Foul Play to counter things like Rhyperior, Weakness Policy Rhyperior, Snorlax, Weakness Policy Tyranitar. Like, all those things take massive damage from Foul Play. This EV spread is actually super good. It lives on the special side. It lives, I think if I remember correctly, everything except a max Hatterene Life Orb Fairy attack. I think that OHKOs. Oh, and now that Gigantamax Pikachu is allowed, Gigantamax Pikachu with GMAX Volt Crash and a Light Ball OHKOs it. But those are really the only two things that OHKO it. And then on the defensive side, everything outside of like Dragapult and Excadrill max moves OHKO it early game without any boosts. But Will-O-Wisp kind of helps it on the defensive side because it can half damage taken from other Pokemon. Plus, the reason that Sableye and Excadrill is such a good combo is because Excadrill can boost Sableye's defenses with max ground and max steel. So boosting Sableye's defenses makes it so bulky and it's so annoying to deal with, and it kind of sits there all game long and it just is annoying. So the goal for Sableye is just to annoy the other person. And then I was kind of thinking with that same aspect of boosting Lapras's defenses, like maybe Lapras doesn't have a great matchup in Gigantamaxing in a certain match. So it's kind of similar to a team I used to run with Milotic. I would use Excadrill to boost Milotic's defenses, and then use Milotic to use things like Breaking Swipe, Muddy Water, and Icy Wind to just lower the other player's stats for as long as it could. And it worked really well, so I think boosting Lapras's defenses kind of does the same thing. It lets it sit around and just deal damage for longer. Having Live Do is also good because if they're dealing less than 25% to you because of all the boosts that you have, then having Live Do is really good on this Pokemon. And then once other Pokemon get under half health, Brine is just so powerful. And then I also kind of went for a little Water Fire Grass Core in Arcanine and Rillaboom. So Arcanine, this is an Arcanine spread I always run. It outspeeds Excadrill by 1. So getting Will-O-Wisp, you can get a Will-O-Wisp off on an Excadrill as long as, like if they're Mold Breaker, you'll get the Will-O-Wisp off, or if they're Sand Rush, then if they're not in Sand, you'll outspeed, or if they don't have Tailwind up, you'll outspeed them by 1 point. Snarl is super good. Intimidate Snarl, Arcanine is just so good. It can lower the other team's attack and special attack with Snarl. And the reason I think Arcanine is good on this team is because you'll already have a Royal Veil up for most games, so you'll already be taking half damage. And then just handicapping those Pokemon even further with Intimidate and Snarl and Will-O-Wisp just makes their team basically do no damage to you. So that's kind of what I've been running. Arcanine's defenses are pretty good. Like, you don't want the matchup between Arcanine and Excadrill, and you don't want a matchup between Arcanine and Gyarados. Those are two bad matchups for Arcanine because Max Gyarados and Max Excadrill can OHKO Arcanine even after an Intimidate. Now, if you are able to not miss the Will-O-Wisp, and you're willing to risk that and not miss the Will-O-Wisp, then Arcanine is actually kind of safe. But those are two Pokemon I would look out for with Arcanine. And then Rillaboom, I was hoping in the Direct yesterday that Rillaboom's hidden ability would be released, but it wasn't. So Rillaboom is still a very solid Pokemon. It's very bulky, and even with Overgrow, it's still good. As you can see, its hidden ability is Grassy Surge, and my thought behind hidden ability Grassy Surge Rillaboom with Lapras and Arcanine on this team would, having the Grassy Surge recovery, and Rillaboom gets Grassy Surge recovery. The only Pokemon on this team that doesn't is Togekiss, and it won't really need it because Togekiss is so bulky, but having the recovery on every other Pokemon on this team is so good. It's like having leftovers on every Pokemon that you throw out on the field. Now, yes, the other team also gets the Grassy Surge boost, but say they're running something like Gyarados Togekiss, or Togekiss Hydreigon, or Rotom and Excadrill on the other side. Like, only one of their Pokemon is getting the boost, and a lot of people do run Gyarados, and a lot of people do run Togekiss and Levitate Mons. So I think Grassy Surge is going to be super strong with Lapras in this team because it just makes the team survive even longer. And you can cycle it out. I don't think it gets like U-turn or anything. Oh, it does get U-turn. That's actually a good move over maybe even Drain Punch. I'll have to look at that, but since it gets U-turn, you can U-turn out, and reset grassy terrain late game if you need to. So I think I might actually look at U-turn, but for right now I'm going with fake out, knockoff, drum beating, and drain punch. Drum beating lowers the target speed by 100%. So I think if you lower Dragapult's speed by 1, it's slower than Excadrill if I remember correctly. I think it's 144 if you lower it by 1. So having an Excadrill that outspeeds a Dragapult is super big. Knockoff is there for things like Mudsdale. If you knock off a Assault Vested Mudsdale, then Lapras can do a ton of damage to it, and even Togekiss that has a weakness policy that's been procced does a ton of damage to Mudsdale. And you can also knock off Snorlax berries, but I don't think Snorlax is going to be a huge deal with this team, because if you can play Foul Play right, after Snorlax uses Belly Drum, Foul Play Okos. So I think with the rise of Foul Play, Snorlaxes are going to go back to probably the Curselax set, but even if they're a Curselax, I think you do like 20% every Foul Play, so it's still not a bad move to use. And then I went for Fake Out. Double Fake Out pressure is big on this team, I think, because Sableye is probably going to be your main lead, but having Fake Out pressure in the back, like you can even lead Rillaboom Lapras and set the terrain and get Fake Out and get, like you can Fake Out a Whimsicott with Rillaboom and then max Resonance the Whimsicott, have terrain set and have Auroraville set right on the very first turn. So I think that lead is super strong, along with a Sableye Excadrill lead. Having Excadrill max and boost Sableye's defenses is really big. And then for the last move, I went Drain Punch, just for, like I said, the main goal of this team is just to have it survive for as long as possible. So I went Drain Punch, but I actually think I might be changing that to U-turn. Once I can play some games with this team, it's going to be a lot different, but I actually might be changing that to U-turn. But I just went Assault Vest is super strong, and I just went 252 HP, 252 attack, Adamant. So that's basically my rundown on my Lapras team. I think this team it's going to be super strong, and I'm really excited to see Lapras become legal, because I think it's probably my favorite Gigantamax Pokemon. It looks super cool, and its move is just super OP. Until mons like Grimmsnarl, like GMAX Grimmsnarl and stuff are released, I think Lapras is probably an S tier Gigantamax in my book. And yeah, so I think that's where I'm probably going to end this episode. I'll leave a Pokepaste of this team in the description below, along with my Twitter, and I'll even leave my Discord username down there if you guys want to message me and just have any questions. Go ahead and do that, and if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe, and I think with that, I'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya.